Hello, I'm Tyrone Martin with American Implement, and today we'd like to go over rinsing procedures on sprayers. This is more of an informational video just to make sure that everybody reminds themselves what needs to happen when you do a rinse out. The reason I'm starting on the machine without it running is I want everybody to see, to make sure that if you're doing rinse out of certain chemicals, you make sure that you use a proper cleaner, okay, number one. Number two is the whole key to rinsing out a machine is dilution, dilution, dilution. You have chemical in the machine, you have chemical in the boom, and you need to get rid of that. And the only way to get rid of it is to dilute it down to get to a base water percentage, okay? So make sure when you're going to do a rinse out, you open up your high flow valves if equipped. You make sure that your orifice valve is equipped so that you have full flow through the machine, okay? So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to hop in, I'm going to start the machine, I'm going to show you a proper rinse out process. So for normal procedures, when I do a rinse out, if at all possible, I try to do an air purge on the boom, okay? Number one, that gets as much chemical out of the boom as possible, so it makes it easier to dilute the boom to get it down to a straight water-based product, okay? I'm not in a position where I can run an air purge at this time because of where I'm located, so I'm just gonna run more volume of water through the machine. So normally when I do a rinse out, the first procedure I do is I'm gonna make sure my rinse tank is completely full, and then because I'm doing nothing but a water-based rinse, I'm going to add some water to my tank, okay? So I'll add between 100 and 150 gallons of water to my main solution tank, okay? And then I'm gonna take my Eductor here, and I'm gonna add my clean out product to my Eductor, okay? Again, always read the label and follow it. The label calls for 1 quart per 100 gallons of water, okay? I'm gonna have about 150 gallons of water, so I'm gonna add 1.5 quarts to the Eductor. Okay? Okay, to start the rinse process, okay? I'm going to hit the rinse button, okay? Then I'm gonna do a complete solution system rinse. So I'm gonna press this button here, okay? It's going to turn on the pump. I'm gonna open my Eductor to get flow to come through. Once the pump primes, we will get water start to come through the Eductor. If the pump primes. Sometimes the pump won't prime right away, okay? Could be because the pump was left dry for several days, which this machine was. So more than likely it will stall out here in a second. I'll have to restart it. Nope, it's going to prime. I'm going to suck up my cleaner. I'm going to suck it up all the way. And I'm going to shut it off, and I'm going to let the machine do the rinse process. Okay? It will rinse the agitation, it will rinse the bypass, and it will rinse out the solution tank. Okay? Then the last thing it will ask for is to spray the solution out. Before we spray the solution out, I'm going to stop the process and show you a couple add-ons that I do. As you see, the progress bar is going across the screen to tell you where it's at in the rinse cycle. Currently it's rinsing the tank. Once the progress bar gets all the way to the right, it will ask you to spray it out. This is where I will stop the rinse cycle and show you some additional rinses I'd like you to perform before you spray out the machine to guarantee complete clean of the system. Okay, so the machine is done with the rinse cycle. It's asking me to spray it out right now, okay? This is where I'm gonna stop and do a little bit better rinse on my system, okay? So I'm gonna cancel out of this portion. Now, I was using my Eductor earlier. All I did was put cleaner in it. I didn't clean my Eductor out, so I may have chemical residue in it. So I'm physically gonna turn my Eductor on. I'm gonna fill it up all the way so I get that tank cleaner all the way to the top of the Eductor so I can clean it out properly. So I'll press the Eductor button. I'll turn on the flow, and I'm gonna fill it up. And then I'm gonna clean it out and suck it back dry. As you see, I'm wearing protective gloves because this stuff has a very high pH and it's very hard on your hands. Plus, I don't know what chemical is in your prior. As you see, it's filled up almost all the way. I'll fill it, and then I'll suck it dry. That way I make sure that my eductor is fully clean. Dry, I'm complete, okay? So this machine is equipped with front fill. So we probably loaded this with chemical at some point. We need to make sure we get it rinsed out properly, okay? So I have tank cleaner in the tank. I'm gonna get it back into this line. So to do that, I'm just gonna open the valve and let it feed some to the front. This one I haven't used in a while. There we go. Woo! Okay, so I'm going to open up the valve, and I'm going to open the electric valve, and we're going to let product free flow to the front, okay? Then I close the valve. This way I know the hose is full of cleaner, okay? I'll shut the electric valve, and then I will open up my air bleed, and that will blow all the cleaner from the hose back into the tank. That way I've taken that entire hose, I filled it with cleaner, I pushed it back through the 1 inch back into the tank, so everything will be clean. Okay. So I'm clean. Now I'm up to the point where I'm about to spray, okay? One thing I like to do, because I told you before that we need to have dilution. And dilution is a lot of volume very fast to make sure we clean out our plumbing. So I'm gonna go down here to the boom and we're gonna turn nozzle bodies. This machine is set up with Exactiply. Now I would do this the exact same if I had a non-Exactiply machine, okay? I'm going to get as much volume through the boom as fast as I can. So I'm going to take this turret, this end one, and I'm going to turn it to an open hole because I have an open hole available. If I did not have an open hole available, I would take off nozzles and set them on the boom so I can get full flow. So I'm going to turn this so I have an open hole facing the front and an open hole facing the back, okay? That way I can flush out both sides of the boom. And I'm going to do this on the end of each pipe section all the way across the boom so I get maximum flow through the boom. Okay? I know a lot of people don't like doing this, but it only takes a couple minutes to do it. 3 minutes total to turn them all and turn them back. It's much better than leaving product in the boom that can set up and plug your nozzles or get contamination that can ruin part of a crop. So please take the time to do this when you need to do a full rinse out. Okay, now that I've had everything turned, I'm ready to go in the cab and spray. Always be cautious of which wind direction it is. Make sure you don't damage any crops. Don't have anything going any place you don't want it to. So please be cautious of what's around your surroundings. Okay, we've got the nozzles ready. We're ready to go spray, okay? I told you that we want as much volume as we can to create dilution. So when I do this, I go to manual pressure, okay? And I spray just at a manual pressure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch this And where I'm at, I'm not too worried about any driftable fines, so I'm going to go to 80 psi, and I'm going to do a full system flush, okay? So I'm going to turn my pump on, okay? I'll throttle up just a little bit so I make sure I get enough pressure, okay? Now, I'm only going to do one section at a time. So I'm going to scroll it down to one section. That way I know my pump can handle all the volume that's going to go through it, okay? So I'm going to hit spray, and we're going to blast that section, okay? The center section doesn't take too long to go, so we're going to let it run for 5-6 seconds, and then I'm going to go to the next section and turn the old section off, okay? Again, doing the same thing, okay? We're doing a full system flush on the machine. So here we are, we're spraying. Again, we're continually working through the sections one at a time and hit as much product out as we can. Okay? Now, one thing to note was it blew us a warning before we started to make sure we get the fence row nozzles. Okay? So we're going to go and we're going to hit this last section and turn it on. And then we're going to turn the fence row nozzle on just to make sure we get it rinsed out. So this whole side's done. So I'm going to stop. And I'm going to change my sections around. And I'm going to go to the center and I'm going to start spraying again, working my way across the other side of the machine. Make sure I get a full flush on the system. When you open these up, the ends, it does not take long to get all the product out that you need. Now, anything that's trapped in the boom, it will come out of the boom. So I still have plenty of product left in the boom. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn all my sections on and finish flushing out the rest of the machine. This way I get all the tank cleaner out and make sure that everything is the way it should be for the rest of the time. So once my pump's empty, I'll lose pressure. I'll shut my pump off, my spray off. Now the only thing left to rinse out is my fill, side fill. So I'm going to go out and dump my side fill to make sure it's cleaned out. We've rinsed the whole system, we've sprayed it out, we've rinsed out everything except for this fill, okay? So I still have just a little bit of product left in the tank. So I really need to get that down here to the fill and make sure this fill is cleaned out. So I'll press the fill button, which will open up the electric valve, and then I'll open this and let the rest of the product come out. Let it drain. There, I've got cleaner out, so I know I'm clean now, okay? So I'll shut this off. Now we're ready to, if I'm in an area that I can do a boom air purge, I would again do the boom air purge. Get rid of as much product in the boom as I can so it's diluted, okay? And then I go do my fresh water rinse. Well, I'm not in an area where I can do a boom air purge because of fine trees around me, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do a second rinse with just water. Okay, so right here's my rinse cycle. I'm going to touch it, and then I'm going to do full system rinse. Okay, so I'm going to hit the full system rinse button. It's going to open up the valve. First thing is it's going to rinse the eductor. So we'll let it open up start filling the eductor and we'll suck it out right away, okay? That way we make sure the boom gets good and primed, or the pump gets good and primed. So we've got flow, we're going to suck that out, shut it off, so we're going to suck it dry. I've sucked it dry. Now I'm going to let it go through, it's a complete rinse cycle, and again I'm going to stop it at the end before I spray. I'm going to re-rinse the eductor, I'm going to re-rinse my front fill, and then I'll be ready to spray everything out. So I'm getting ready to do my second rinse out. I'm going to shut off all sections but one, turn the pump on, throttle up just a little bit, now I'm going to spray. Now I'm not going to do this very long, I'll do this very quick because I don't have near as much water in the tank as I did before. So I'm just going to run these sections very quickly. Turn all my sections back on. Spray the remainder out. Which again, this should take only a few seconds because I don't have very much volume in the tank. Pressure's low. I'm out of product. Okay, so everything is shut off. Okay, so we've done the rinse with the cleaner. We've run the rinse with straight water, okay? Since I've done that, now normally I do a boom air purge, okay? And make sure the boom is clean of it, all the air, pushed all the fluid out. Then I check my strainers, okay? Because I know I can't get everything out of the strainers. I anticipate these strainers to be dirty, okay? So I'm gonna drain this strainer, I'm gonna pull it out, check it, and this is where I go clean those strainers, okay? To make sure that they're clean. Once I'm done cleaning them, then I'll reinstall them and I'll do that third rinse cycle, okay? That third rinse cycle is imperative to make sure that you get everything flushed from that strainer when you took it out, okay? Anything that's set in the boom or right there, you make sure you get rid of it. So we're gonna pull the first strainer right now. That is relatively clean water. That's good. Maybe we got this rinsed out before we started. And this is why it's important to wear right PPE material. Okay. Whoops. Strainer, as you see, still has some product left in it, okay? That's why we pull it to clean it. There's some residue on this outside. This residue on this outside is what will end up going back through the boom and can plug your nozzles. That's why we pull them to clean it, okay? Not only to clean that, but always remember that at some point you may need to clean that fill strainer. That thing gets dirty all the time too. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the time to pull it out also and make sure. On this fill strainer, there are two caps. Here's the outer cap, here's the smaller end cap. You only want to pull the end cap. If you pull this outer cap, the O-ring on it will swell and it will not go back on without a brand new O-ring, okay? So we're only gonna pull this end cap to check for cleansiness. It hasn't been off in a while, so this may be dirty. We hope not, because we've done a full rinse on it. If anything, we got some cleaner that's neutralized most of the chemical, okay? I didn't drain the tank. Normally I drain the tank before I do this. That's okay. Sometimes you forget when you're busy. So there's some chemical residue left in there, okay? Plus, here comes my fill screen, chemical residue left in there. That's why it's important. And if you look inside here, you can see some chemical residue, okay? So you always want to make sure to try to clean out as much as you can so that you don't get contamination, okay? Nice. This is why it's importantly clean, okay? It's for you to, your crop's too important, everybody's crop's too important. We need to make sure that the machine is clean when we're changing chemicals, going between crops that are sensitive. Make sure we get it cleaned out, okay? Now I'm going to open this up because I left a little bit of product in the main tank. I'm going to open it up and let it flush it out a little bit. There wasn't much left in there. There's just a little bit. Enough to get a good clean rinse right there. Okay? I'm going to rinse this stuff off my gloves too. Okay, now we're at the point of cleaning strainers. Put them back in, do our final rinse process, rinse the entire system again, and we've got to clean out, ready to go to the next job. Okay? Any questions, feel free to call us at American Implement anytime. We'll help you out the best we can. Thanks.